Have you caught your breath yet? Has your heart rate turned down? Is your adrenaline levels even keel? Mine is. I'm pretty sure my co-host is as well. Get ready for an express broadcast episode of No Credentials Required. And welcome everyone to this special express edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts. To my right is a man who before our program was blaring Freebird out of his Alexa speaker, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Who were you expecting? Bob Dole? That's a dated reference if you ever get one. But the reason I say it is different time, different night. But we thought we'd surprise you because the games were so good today. And I'm basking in the glow of my newly minted heating system. And my house smells like glue. But I'm going to try to stay awake for this episode and not pass out for the fumes. How are you tonight?
Crack open a window in your room, man.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. Yeah, I was cooking dinner while I was watching USA and Sweden. But man, that game got my heart rate going, and it was spectacular. So it was spectacular, and I was standing up the whole time. My legs were jelly by the end, and not because I worked out today. although I did leg day yesterday.
I was going to say, I have it on good authority. You don't skip leg day.
Never skip leg day. I mean, come on. Never mind. Anyway, so since this is an express episode, all of our sponsor links are in the description. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter tonight. We figured we skip Twitch. We'll keep that to our live streams for our regular podcast episodes. This will not be rebroadcast on the podcast side. This is exclusively on our social media channels. We're going to react to all of these games that happened today. 3 out of the 4 Olympic ice hockey men's quarterfinal games went to overtime.
Yeah.
This is probably the most thrilling day of Olympic hockey ever since I can remember start watching Olympic hockey way back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, you know what this had a feel, Ryan? It had a feel of Stanley Cup playoff hockey, except the stakes were higher.
Yes.
Because you're playing for your country. Apparently, before the Canadian game, Connor McDavid was quoted as saying something like, if you're not ready for these games, you shouldn't be playing hockey. They mentioned that in the broadcast. And I got to agree with the Edmonton Oilers captain right there. If you're not ready for this, what are you doing it for?
Homer alert! Only for the Edmonton Oilers, not because of team.
Yes.
But before we get things started, let's formally introduce our Olympic hockey coverage.
Bum 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 bum.
All right, so we got comments in the comments section. Desi from Alabama saying, "Hey fellas, no creds on a Wednesday." Yes, we're doing an express podcast. We're not so much a podcast, but an express live stream reacting to all 4 games that happened today. Mr. M. Valenti in the chat saying Finland's win was impressive. Absolutely. We'll talk about that in just a few moments or two, but we're going to get things started. I'm going to start with the early game, the very early morning game. If you were up for this game, God bless you. I mean, I was, but only because I was going to work out. So that's why I caught snippets of this game. Also logged in. While I was logging into work, I checked out the end. But the first game was between the fourth seed Slovakian squad. They took on Germany. Slovakia, a surprisingly strong team. Great performance here. 6-2 was the final in this one. Slovakia basically outplayed Germany the entire game. Pavel Regenda, 2 goals and an assist. Milos Helaman with a goal, and Samuel Halave with 25 saves for Slovakia. As for Germany, tough sledding for them. Lucas Reichel, a goal and an assist. Dustin, your boy, Leon Draisaitl, contributed with an assist. And Frederick Tiffels scored a power play goal late in the game to keep the score respectable. But at one point, it was 4-0 Slovakia. And you could kind of tell this was going to get away from Germany very, very quickly. It did in the opening frame. They scored only 1 goal, but Slovakia pulled away in the third period with 3 goals, 2 goals in a matter of 33 seconds.
Wow.
By Slovakia. One by Kellerman, the other by Oliver Okuliar. And then they scored an extra 2 goals in the third period. Dvorsky with a goal, and then Tomasz Tatar, former New Jersey Devil Tomasz Tatar, now playing in Switzerland. He contributed with an empty net goal, but they move on. Slovakia, they move on to the medal round. And I don't know if you got a chance to catch the highlights of this game, Dustin, but let's talk about this game a little bit.
I did not get a chance to catch the highlights of this game. Normally, I would have been probably up and getting ready for work, and I was up, but I was waiting for contractors today. I didn't get a chance to catch up with this one at all. But luckily, the fates aligned, Ryan. It was almost like they said, "Hey, we realize you got to cover Olympic hockey." So the main 2 games that I saw were Czechia versus Canada and the USA versus Sweden, of course, which we will get to later. But we had said on last night's show that this was going to be the round where the gulf between the teams that had a lot of NHL talent and the teams that did not have a lot of NHL talent was going to show. And you had mentioned that Germany could have been a dark horse for a medal. You know, you were thinking bronze, maybe.
Sorry, Germany.
Yeah, we cursed them again because I said, oh, if they have a chance, I was like Sweden, or I said Sweden has underperformed given the talent that they have on the roster. They also proved me wrong today. But I felt like Germany, we said on last night's show, and I believe during weekend coverage, that Germany starts and stops with Leon Draisaitl. And it's no disrespect to anybody else on the roster. It's just that he is the number 1 option, and it's easy to tell. And so when you have a team that has played surprisingly well, like Slovakia, they're able to key in on him. And I don't care how good one player is, especially in a team sport like hockey, it's not like the NBA. The NBA, there are times where an individual player can get hot. He can put a team on his back, and they can carry the team to victory. That doesn't happen in hockey. You have to work together. You have to work together. You have to protect your stars. You know, it's a team game. Everybody must fit into their role. And it's just Germany just did not have the horses to keep up with this surprising Slovakia team, as you mentioned, Ryan.
Yeah, both teams have some NHL talent. Slovakia arguably has a lot more. But again, like you mentioned, they also play as a unit. And they got some guys who played on this team back in 2022 in Beijing. And Slovakia won the bronze medal. They won the bronze medal in 2022. So a lot of these players played together. 2 of them happen to be on this team that who currently play in the NHL. Szymon Nemec, who plays defense, and Juraj Slafkovsky, who was the number 1 pick in the draft in 2023. And I believe Szymon Nemec was 2 or 3 that season for the New Jersey Devils. So So Slovakia moves on. We'll find out who they play in just a moment. But let's go to the comment section real quick. Tiger Stripes Media saying, good evening to you, Tiger Stripes
Good
Media.
evening.
Does he saying leg day? Yes, right. Never skip leg day. Got to work on those getaway sticks. I mean, this is a hockey show. So you gotta do the
nicely
lingo.
done.
You gotta do the lingo. Yes. If you haven't watched Shoresy, watch it. It's a great show. And Tiger Stripes Media is saying congrats to the USA hockey team. We'll talk about that performance in just a moment or two. But before we do that, let's go to our second quarterfinal game. And this is where the JR effect. I'm gonna break it out for this one.
All
the
right.
JR effect came into play. The first of 3 games I'm looking for. I can't seem to find it. Where did I delete it? Nope, I didn't. There we go. Business was about to pick up in the next 3 quarterfinal games. The first one being Canada, the odds-on favorite for the gold medal in this tournament. They come back to beat Czechia 4-3 in overtime. Mitch Marner, game-winning goal, 3-on-3 overtime. Nick Suzuki tied the game up with. Let me see how long was this? What's his goal? His goal came at 56:33, so about 3 minutes and 27 seconds left in the third period. A few minutes after Andre Palat from Czechia had taken the lead for the Czechs, and Macklin Celebrini. Look, if there's going to be one player who's going to win the most outstanding player award of the Olympics, if they award one, Macklin Celebrini is certainly one name to watch out for. He added a goal and 2 assists, including the assist that Mitch Marner scored on. For Czechia, they scored 3 goals. David Pasternak, we talked about him on yesterday's show.
Yes.
He scored a power play goal. The aforementioned Andre Palat, who suddenly has found his scoring touch in the Olympics. Why couldn't you do that with New? I'm just kidding. He scored the go-ahead goal with 7:42 remaining in the third period, and then Lucas Dostal, 37 saves for Czechia in the loss. Let's talk about this game a little bit more. We talked about it on yesterday's show. What a game! What a game! The first of 3 overtime games in the round. We talked about Czechia yesterday. How this team wasn't the same team that played Canada in their first game in group play. Mm-hmm. Canada skunked Czechia in their first game against each other in the round robin, the preliminaries. This game was a lot different. Canada scored quickly. They scored first. They scored 3:05 into the game. Macklin Celebrini with the goal, but Czechia responded. They responded in kind. They got themselves a nice goal in front by Sedlak. Then Pasternak got a power play. Pasternak scored that goal from I call it the OV dot.
That's a good name. I'll second it.
Thank you. Call it the OV dot. Let's get that going. Let's get that going. The OV dot. We'll talk about the OV dot a little bit later in another game. And then Canada came back. They scored a power play goal of their own. Nate McKinnon scored in the second period to respond. Then Andre Palat gives Czechia the lead on a fantastic play by Tomas Hertl. Tomas Hertl blocked a shot, created a 3-on-2 with Nechas and Palat getting the pass from him. He scores, beats Bennington, beats Bennington, Jordan Bennington. Almost said, almost call him Carter Bennington. No, he beat Jordan Bennington. You thought to yourselves, all right, Czechia, you just got to hold on, Czechia. And then Nick Suzuki scores a game-tying goal with less than 4 minutes remaining in the game. Go to overtime. And also, Czechia had a chance to win it late in the match. It's a very controversial non-call. Nechas got a breakaway, looked to be hooked by Devon Taves going on that breakaway. Could have been a penalty call, could have had a penalty shot. No call. Go to overtime. And Mitch Marner Finally doing things with a maple leaf on his chest. Scores a game-winning goal. And let's talk about this game a little bit more, Dustin.
Man, I was really impressed with this game. First of all, you mentioned it, Ryan. Celebrini, he's got to be up there for the, like you said, the standout player of the tournament. It's his 5th goal of the tournament. He's been very impressive. And you think, Canada scored quick into the contest, and you're thinking, uh-oh, is this a repeat of the first game? It was not. Czechia responded, and they actually, I noted in my notes, they led in shots early in the first 7-3, which I wouldn't have expected given the fact that Canada came out and scored so quickly. And let me tell you, Roman Chervenka, the one-timer off the post, they were peppering Canada early. And David Pastrnak, he scored to take the lead. Like you mentioned, he got that goal. We talked about that he would have to play very well in order for Czechia to have a chance in this game. And you mentioned, Ryan, that Dostal would have to stand on his head. He darn near did in this one. He was very impressive. Yep. He had back-to-back saves. I had to make a note of it because I forget who shot the first shot. Connor McDavid got the rebound lightning quick and did a wraparound and tried to score again, and Dostal stoned them both times. That was unbelievable. Dostal was keeping them in the game and maintaining that lead. And collectively, the entire nation of Canada had to be on the edge of their seat, and we were messaging
panic. Yeah. Massive panic.
And we were messaging about it back and forth in the Discord. Little did we know that we ourselves would be panicking just a few short hours later. Yeah. But you mentioned it. Nathan McKinnon scores that power play goal, 7:44 into the second. But you could tell Canada was a little rattled. They did not expect to be down in this game. At the end of the first period, they came out of the locker room, and the Canadian coach, who is escaping me right now.
John Cooper.
Thank you. Cooper was shuffling the lines. Canada has.
He had to, because one player of note in particular was hurt and did not return. Sidney Crosby.
Yes, which, I mean, you see, and at first you're thinking, oh, why is Sid exiting? But the way he got up and was walking back to the locker room, it did not look good. Mm-hmm. And then when I saw the way that he hit the ice in slow motion on that hit, I'm like, oh, that's not good, especially with someone of Sid's past concussion issues and things of that nature. But they supposedly said in the locker room, they said this will not be his last game at the Olympics. No. And true to form, they survived to play another day. But Czechia has nothing to be ashamed of. They should be very proud of the way that they played and they responded. And like I said, I was particularly impressed with Dostal. And like I said, when you see Canada hasn't really shuffled anything around because they haven't had to. They have that line that they're calling the nuclear line, I think, or at least one of the announcers was calling it the nuclear line. I'm not.
Celebrini, McKinnon, and McDavid.
Yeah, they were calling it the
hell
nuke
of a
line.
That's a hell of a line.
But they had to shuffle things around. I mean, they were caught on their back foot. Yep. It was impressive.
Yeah, I will say this: Jordan Binnington coming up huge again for Canada.
Yes.
And I have to wonder after watching this game, a lot of NHL executives are looking at Jordan Binnington, the St. Louis Blues, not having not having the best of seasons. I have to wonder. They're going to be coming calling before the trade deadline. Could we see Jordan Binnington in an Edmonton Oilers uniform?
Oh, man. Based on the way that he's playing, the thing is, and as an Oiler fan, I remember this. They acquired, and I mean, I keep going back to it because it was a magical cup run, but they did this in 2006, Ryan. They acquired Minnesota Wild backup at the time, Dwayne Rollison, who got super hot and carried that Oiler team to the Stanley Cup final. And I think with the way Binnington has played for the Canadians in the Olympics, maybe this buoys his confidence a little bit, and he just carries the momentum into the remainder of the season. Who knows? And like you said, he could be wearing a different sweater.
Yeah, unfortunately for Morrison, did not have a great Stanley Cup final.
No, he did not.
UC Markkinen had to come in and do some cleaning up in the in games 4, 5, and 6 for the Oilers. But I forgot to play this. Germany, not so great. Thanks for playing, but unfortunately, your medal hopes have been wasted.
Pictures you find for this have been very, very good because he looks so dejected there.
I'm sorry to use your boy Draisaitl, but he was the only German player of note that I thought of. And unfortunately for Czechia, great effort, great standing, hanging in there punch for punch with Canada. But unfortunately, your medal chances have also been wasted. All right, we're moving right along to the third game of the quarterfinal. Started during the second period of the Canada-Czechia game.
Yeah.
Finland and Switzerland. Finland coming back from a 2-0 deficit, scores 2 goals in the third period and get the overtime winner. They advance to the semifinal with a 3-2 win over Switzerland. Arturi Lehkonen, he got the game-winning goal in overtime. Miro Heiskanen scored the game-tying goal off a beautiful deflection off of a Swiss player's stick, which is unfortunate for them. And UC Saros, he overcomes a shaky start in the first period, and he comes in with 21 saves, got 21 saves in the game for Finland to move on. For Switzerland, both their goals scored in the first period, first by Damien Riat, and then Nino Niederreiter scored a goal in the first period. And Leonardo Giannoni, tough for him, a tough game for him. I would say tough outing. Was playing outstanding. Was playing out of his mind for the first 2 periods. And then late in the third period, he gives up the first goal. Finland goes on the attack with the extra skater. And Miro Heiskanen finds a shot, deflects it off of Jonas Siegenthaler's stick. And goes past Giannoni. And then the overtime, in the last frame, the overtime frame, gets a breakaway. Lehkonen gets a breakaway, puts it past Giannoni, and Finland moves on to the medal round. This was an interesting game. This is a very interesting game because Switzerland, I've talked about them. I thought they would be a medal contender. Talked about it on last night's show. I thought they would be one of the darkest of dark horses to have a chance at gold. I thought because their lineup is a mix of NHL players and domestic players who play in the Swiss league, and also play in Germany, and they also play in Sweden. Some players do, but this match was very scrappy. It was a scrappy effort. You can tell by the shots on goal. Finland had only 31 shots on goal. Switzerland only 23. But UC Saros giving up those 2 goals in the first period. And he gave them up in a 1 minute and 12 second span. In the first period, he wound up making only 3 saves out of the 5 shots that Switzerland had on goal. Man. Like I said, this was a very defensive battle. This was a very defensive battle between these two teams. Both teams want to go to the gold, want to advance to the medal, the semifinal round where they have a chance at a medal. And this was a very tight game, hard hitting, not in terms of like open ice hits, but just in terms of battling on the boards. Trying to get sticks in the lane, make sure the passes don't get through for shots. Switzerland had their shot, had their chance. First 2 periods played exceptionally well. And in the third period, Finland just kind of leaned in. Finland leaned in the third period. They had 10 shots on goal in the third period. 10 shots on goal in the third period. In the second period, they had 16 shots on goal. So Finland made their presence felt in the last 2 periods of the game. Just couldn't find a goal past Giannoni. And then Sebastian Aho with 7 minutes and 6 seconds. I'm sorry. Yeah, 7 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the game, scores the first goal for Finland. A little bit later, they pull the goalie. They pull UC Saros. They get the extra attacker. Heiskanen scores off that unfortunate deflection off of Siegenthaler's stick. If you watch the replay, you can just see this. You can see him just kind of putting on goal, see what happens, and it just happens to go on the ice and it hits the stick while Siegenthaler and another Finnish player were battling for position. Just happens to hit the Siegenthaler stick, goes past Giannoni, and we go to overtime. And Finland finished the job. They finished the job in the third in the overtime frame. Only one shot on goal for between both teams. Only one shot on goal. One shot was all he needed on a beautiful breakaway. Lehkonen gets the goal. Finland advances to the semifinal. They will play Canada.
Man, I'm sorry that I missed this game. We were talking in the green room before the show. I was pretty sure that we were pretty sure it was exclusive to Peacock here in the US. And like you said, it started during the second period of the Canada game. So I knew it was starting, but I wanted to continue to watch the Czechia-Canada game because it was a great game. So this is why having two of us on No Credentials Required pays off.
Yes.
But this was a game that I was sad that I missed because, like I said, if I had to be off today because of the work that was being performed at my house, it was perfect because I just pretty much got to sit around and watch some hockey peppered in with some skiing and snowboarding all day. It was a fine day.
It was a fine day. Fine day of hockey. I was paying attention while I was working. I didn't have to be on the phones today, so I could pay attention while I'm doing my work and make sure that I could catch some hockey. This is a solid hockey game. Unfortunately for Switzerland, my darkest of dark horses to win a gold medal, but unfortunately, your medal chances have been wasted. Then we come to the final game, the late, mid-afternoon game. Arguably the best game of the 4 games. The United States play Freebird, baby. Semifinal with a 2-1 win over Sweden. Quinn Hughes scored the game-winning goal in overtime and 3-on-3 overtime. Also added an assist. Dylan Larkin got things going with the first goal of the game. And Connor Hellebuck, I think I spelled his name wrong there. Dang it. Connor Hellebuck, 2 L's, not 1. Connor Hellebuck, 28 saves on 29 Sweden shots. As for Sweden, Mika Zibanejad, he scored the game-tying goal to send the game into overtime. Lucas Raymond added an assist, and Jacob Markstrom of my New Jersey Devils, he added 38 saves for Sweden. Dustin, I could not sit down in the third period of this game. Let's talk about this game. This was arguably the best game of the 4 in the afternoon. And this was an outstanding match.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I had said that I felt that Sweden underperformed relative to the talent on their roster up to this point. They were up for the challenge today. Mm-hmm. And as the game continually went on, it was one of those games like those baseball games, Ryan, where it's a pitcher's duel and you're thinking, okay, who's going to break first?
I've seen one of them live.
Yeah,
Roger Clemens, Pedro Martinez, 1999. Oh wow, my God, Yankee Stadium.
That's a great game to see.
No,
live.
2000.
Okay. But yeah, we might have to, as part of our baseball coverage or off-season coverage, we might have to talk about that because I did not know that you were at that game. What a game. But man, Ryan, I had said coming into this game that one of the US's strong points to me has been their puck movement and their passing. And the puck movement was looking good early for USA. Couple great saves by Markstrom. That would be a theme. He was unbelievable. The US couldn't get anything going on a power play early. It just that was the tone for this game. The Swedes recovered well too because the U.S. came out and peppered them with some shots. Sweden, I forget when they finally got their first shot. I forgot to write it down, but they were at a bagel for a little while. Their first shot on goal. It took a little bit for them to get their first shot on goal, but once they got going, I felt like they kind of came out, and I don't know if they got caught off guard or what happened, but they recovered very well. And the Hughes brothers, Ryan, both of them would come up huge in this game because that Dylan Larkin.
I feel much better now. I updated everything. I feel so much better.
There we go. That Dylan Larkin goal that you mentioned, that was off a Jack Hughes shot that I thought went in at first. I thought Jack Hughes got the goal, and it turned out Larkin heads up play with that redirect there. But there was just this game was not an offensive shootout. Obviously, you see the score, but it was a fun game to watch. I like games like these when both teams are playing well and evenly matched like this. This was unbelievable. And we were talking about Canada being on edge early. We were on edge too, because we're thinking, are we going to be able to get by Sweden here? Because it was looking bleak for a while. The Swedes were not going quietly into that good night. And you mentioned it, Ryan. Quinn Hughes came up huge, scored in OT. I think it was pretty quick into OT, if I remember. This part of the game gets a little hazy for me because this is when
3:27 and I'm sorry, with 3:27 into overtime.
Okay, yeah, okay. But this part of the game gets a little hazy to me because, of course, this is when the job was finished, and then the guys wanted to walk me through what they had done and what they had installed and everything. So I was down in my basement asking about filter sizes when the OT was going on. So. But man, I saw most of this game. What a game. This is what Olympic hockey is all about.
Yeah. Got a comment in the comment section here with M. Valent saying, I was holding my breath since they tied it up. Them being Sweden finally breathed when the United States scored in overtime. Yeah, this is a fun game to watch. First period, shots on goal, they were even. They were just about even. United States had 11 shots. Sweden had 10. Second period, United States kind of put their foot in. There's a great save in the second frame by Hellebuck on Lucas Raymond. And after that, United States said, okay, we got to get things going here. They put 20 shots on goal in the second period. One got by Markstrom. One, because that's how you can tell Jacob Markstrom was going to have an excellent game. But Larkin got that tip in front. And I think what they were trying to do, the United States was trying to do, was they were trying to get traffic in front of Markstrom, try to get him a little bit rattled. And it seemed to have worked, but at the same time, Markstrom was standing up. And then in the third period, I felt the United States was a little bit complacent in the third period. Sweden outshot them 10-4. The United States only had 10 shots had only 4 shots on goal in the third frame. It felt like, especially towards the latter half of that period, I don't think they reshot. They may have recorded maybe 1 or 2 shots on goal from minute 10 on, and everything seemed to pick up in the overtime period. Now, that goal by Zibanejad, it came with a minute 31 remaining in the third period. I was watching, they had pulled Markstrom. Canada, and they're there's a bit of a contrast with these 3 games. Slovakia, It's absolutely crushed Germany. Canada did not need to pull the goalie for to score their game tying goal. Finland did, Sweden did, and it paid off for both Sweden, or paid off for Finland at least because they scored the game winning goal. But for Sweden, stay in this game again. Another shot from the Ovi dot. Lucas Raymond finding Mika Zibanejad with a beautiful shot. You just heard it hit the iron and then go in, and it's like, no. You just went, they just deflated. But I will give the U.S. credit. They tried to get shots on goal on Markstrom. Werenski almost won the game in regulation for them with a beautiful shot on goal. But in the final frame, in the overtime frame, the United States had 6 shots on goal. Sweden had
bagel. Wow.
A big fat bagel. And it could have ended early. Dylan Larkin had himself a nice little poke check. Stole a puck away from a player. They had a 3 from a Swede. They had 3-on-2. And you know what? I said to myself, you know what? One of the Hughes brothers is going to score the goal. One of the Hughes brothers is going to call a game. Jack almost scored on his teammate in New Jersey, Jacob Markstrom. But then Quinn doing his thing. This is why Quinn Hughes is considered one of the best defensemen in the world. Not just the NHL, but the entire world because of what he can do with the puck as a defenseman. He and his brother Jack, they play very similar styles, even though Quinn is obviously a better defenseman. But you can see in the way they skate, the way they hold the puck on possession. And that shot by Quinn Hughes puts it past Markstrom. United States advances. For the first time, they finally beat Sweden. All right, this is how long the United States has not beaten Sweden in Olympic competition. The last time they beat Sweden in Olympic competition prior to today, 1960. Guess what they did in 1960? They won the gold medal in Squaw Valley, Idaho.
That's right. We reviewed that jersey on last night's show, brought to you by affiliate sponsor Royal Retros.
Absolutely. You can find it at Royal Retros. Links in the description. And actually, it's funny. It's so funny. We just mentioned I just mentioned Brent, our boy Brent Radlinski. And I'm going to write to him. Give me just a moment. Go ahead and vamp. I'm going to respond to him real quick.
All right. Well, we got some comments. We got Kevin from Seahawks Sessions, my cohort, and BK. If you watch Seahawks Sessions, you know what BK now stands for.
BK. British Knights. I like me now. It's not British Knights.
Spoiler. It's not Burger King anymore. Will the NHL get a boost because of the Olympics? I think so. I think that the Olympics are something that everybody cares about. And what do you miss when it's gone? The Olympics, at least I usually do. And people are going to be like, well, there's more hockey on. I can watch hockey. Maybe I'll start watching. Maybe somebody has become a fan of McDavid because of the Olympics, or Markstrom, or the Hughes brothers, and name any of them. Dylan Larkin, anybody. Maybe somebody is a huge Celebrini fan. They want to see more of him. Yep. The NHL is the place to do it, and I think I would have to do some real-time research. I would have to think that the Four Nations face-off last year helped the NHL post. It was in place of the All-Star game, and people loved it. So I think the Olympics are going to provide a similar effect.
Yeah, I mean, last year we talked about it last year on our show about how the Four Nations face-off was so much better than the NBA All-Star game, so much better, and I think that helped. Four Nations helped the NHL more than the NBA All-Star, more than the All-Star game helped the NBA. And it continued to show in this year's NBA, although some people really like the format they had, but they copied the NHL with their format.
Yeah, but the dunk contest, Ryan, the dunk contest. I was talking about it with a coworker. I didn't even bother watching, and the dunk contest used to be
Barely watch.
my favorite all-star event. And you know what won the dunk contest this year? A running windmill
Running
dunk.
windmill. It's already been done.
Now, I cannot do a running windmill. You could give me 6 lifetimes, and I'd never be able to do a running windmill. But for that to win the dunk contest, it's absurd. It's absurd to me.
Boring. So Brent is currently out, but he says let's do something this set. We'll talk about it in the green room. He's
All
out
right,
right now,
nice.
but he was hoping to join us. I was like, hey, we're on right now. Come and join us. But he's currently out and about. Fellas, husbands, date your wives. That's what Brent's doing right now. Good man. He's a good man. Desi and Kevin greeting each other in the chat, and your Uncle Al jumping on saying both of those games today were bangers. I suspect he watched primarily the Canada-Czechia game and the United States-Sweden game.
Yeah.
I presume because I watched the Finland-Switzerland game exclusively on Peacock. So, but yeah, so we're gonna do something with Brent from the 1420 Sports Bar podcast soon, probably this week. Hopefully we'll find out on Saturday if one or both of our teams are in the final. Which brings me to the schedule for the semifinals on Friday. This is for the men's bracket. Tomorrow afternoon, U.S. women's, Canada's women's teams go at it at 1:10 p.m. Eastern. That's the women's gold medal game. The bronze medal game between Switzerland and Sweden is earlier that morning. But the men's bracket, Finland, Canada, 10:40 a.m. Eastern, followed by at 3:10 p.m. Slovakia and the United States. No predictions here. I will predict, though, if the semifinal games are a lot like the quarterfinal games, we're going to have ourselves some great hockey.
We are in for a treat.
We're certainly in for a treat. All right, so tomorrow, women's gold medal game. Friday, men's semifinals. Saturday morning, the bronze medal game. That's going to be while we're recording our next episode of the official OG edition of No Credentials Required, 10 a.m. Eastern, Saturday morning. We'll talk about the semifinal games. We'll talk about the women's gold medal game. And then Sunday morning, we'll react to the gold medal game. After the medal ceremonies, after the gold medals are handed out, who will it be? Who will it be on Sunday battling for the gold? We'll have to find out. But this has been the Express edition of No Credentials Required, exclusively on our social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for checking us out. We'll see you on Friday, and we'll see you on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll talk about the semifinal games and the gold medal game. Sunday is another Express edition, social media exclusive. Saturday's edition will be on podcast on audio, as well as the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel, but the Express edition will exclusively be on our social media channel. So, for Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Watch those semifinal games. Watch some Olympic hockey. And yes, Kevin Wilson, yes, the NHL will certainly get another boost because of these Olympic Games, because these Olympics have been awesome. And hopefully Friday will continue that trend. So, and I'm certain the women's game will also get a boost. The PWHL will also get a boost from the gold medal game tomorrow. But we'll be back for the OG show Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Twitch. And we'll do a segment with Mr. Brent Redlinski coming soon, to either to 1420 or to No Credentials Required, or both. But until then, have a great night. Keep those heart rates down. You're going to need your heart tomorrow and on Friday, folks. So enjoy the rest of the Olympics. We'll talk about it more on Saturday morning.
Who can it be now? Good night, everybody.